In Module 3, we look at a different way of looking at technology in curriculum. This is called Universal Design for Learning, otherwise known as UDL. UDL, though, shares a great many ideas with understanding by design. It is traditionally, though, associated with technology use. We're going to watch a little video here in a second that will basically give you the big picture of UDL. I'm going to share a little bit more with you in a PowerPoint, and also share a little bit more from a gentleman by the name of Dr. David Rose, who is the scientist that has studied all this. Now, UDL comes from CAST, as you can see up here, Center for Applied Special Technologies. How about that? And it is also associated with Howard Gardner. Both are located out of Harvard University. And one of the things that, as you well probably know, Howard Gardner is famous for his learning styles. And so CAST gives a little bit of recognition to that, but I think it does it in a more meaningful way. What UDL is about is looking at how we can reach people who are on the quote-unquote margins. Now let's, give some simple examples. I've noticed lately when I go to grocery stores how much bigger the signs are in the aisles, so you know what's in the aisles in the grocery stores. Is that an adaptation because someone with poor vision came in the store and complained? Possibly. Or is it more the fact that as our nation grows older, people's eyesight grows weaker? We are seeing the response to that. Have you noticed? I have. In my neighborhood, there are more curb cuts, little ramps. And they were put there, designed for people in wheelchairs, so they get out and enjoy walking and as much as I do by using their wheelchairs. But it's also there now so that people with baby strollers, kids with bicycles, can go up and down on the sidewalks without having to worry about curbs. So this simple change that meets the needs of one group benefits all. That's universal design for learning. So when we look at it, what we're trying to say is that if we provide for multiple representations of material so that all learners can participate, if we provide multiple ways of strategizing, so again, all people can participate, and we allow for multiple expressions of that learning so that all people can participate, what we do is we move from a very focused, down the middle kind of approach to an approach that meets the needs of all students to the benefit of all students. Okay, we're going to run this one all the way through. It's only 4 minutes long, 4.5 minutes long, but it does a really good job of explaining UDL. Probably much better than I just did.
This teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students. And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse, and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in the classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have three broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all three. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught. Number 2, provide multiple means of action and expression. Give students plenty of options for expressing what they know and provide models, feedback, and supports for their different levels of proficiency. Number 3, provide multiple means of engagement. What fires up one student won't fire up another. Give students choices to fuel their interests and autonomy. Help them risk mistakes and learn from them. If they love learning, they will persist through challenges. And remember, always keep in mind the learning goal. Get rid of barriers caused by the curriculum and keep the challenge where it belongs. And that's it. Okay, quick recap.
Okay, that was, I had to stop it there toward the end, and I apologize for that. I had some dogs start barking, but we've covered it. What I want you to think through of this is, I hope, that you see that the connection or the similarity to understanding by design is that the goal is always at the center, and that we believe, and this is what Dr. Rose teaches us, is that the brain has 3 different ways that it makes sense of the world. Now, if you don't believe in this idea about people learn differently, here's a learning styles test. I urge you to take this test to see how you turn out. And I would also then urge you to ask someone else that's either a relative or one of your students to also take the test. And then what you can start seeing is that we do have different ways that we view the world. So let me share with you this PowerPoint from the good folks at CAST. This is Dr. David Rose, who basically is the brainchild behind Universal Design for Learning. And I just love this quote from his book that says that barriers to learning are not in fact inherent in the capacities of students, but instead arise in learners' interactions with inflexible educational goals, materials, methods, and assessment. And when we look at the multiple types of students we have in our classrooms, this really starts to make sense. Unfortunately, we are not given any tools to meet the needs of all those different learners. So let's walk this through a little bit so I can help you start in your mind seeing how this works. And then more importantly, how technology plays a role in it. So let's go back. They brought this up in the video, but let's do it again. So there are three parts of your brain. There's the recognition network, there's the strategic network, and there's the affective network. And your recognition part of your brain is the what of learning. It's how we identify and interpret patterns of sound, light, taste, and smell. And it's what we use to remember and learn from. The strategic network is the how we plan, execute, and monitor how we go about applying the knowledge that we have in our head. And then the affective is how do we feel about it? How does it help us? What grabbed our attention about something? This is the part when I go in and do K-tips. I see a lot of affective networks in play when I walk into classrooms, especially high school, where kids have their heads down or they're trying to sneak looks at their phones. These are the three tenets, very simple. People must recognize information, people must be able to apply it, and people must be engaged. So why do we see this problem? Well, there's three ways. We can see that the task is too difficult. That's an obvious one. But then there's that zone of proximal development. Remember that? Remember Vygotsky? So if we're giving things to kids that sort of hits the sweet spot of that it's not frustrating, the first one, or the task is too easy, the last one, then what we're doing is we have engaged the learner in a task that they can work their way through. What UDL says is we have ways to promote this zone of proximal development so that the task isn't too difficult, or the task can be expanded to challenge the learner who finds that it's too easy. And as you can see, this is a common misconception about that one size fits all. So one of the things that I have always found about universal design for learning that I have a great deal of respect for is just a very simple idea of how do we meet the needs of everyone in our classroom. And can we do that in a way that has real meaning? This is 45 minutes long, this video, and this is an actual presentation that Dr. Rose did on UDL, and it is extremely in-depth. He backs up what he talks about with real science, showing you parts of the brain and how they're affected. So I urge you to watch it. Here is a little video that basically says, so how do we see UDL in practice? And this was the PowerPoint I just did for you. Now, let's take a second here and let's go look at what the assignment is asking us to do.